I think that I kind of knew that there was some dormant issues that I was trying to manage as well as I could, and perhaps I did manage them well for a time.
Okay. Well, these are just photos from my time in service.
But I think probably fairly shortly after my last deployment, which would have been in 2005, probably in the next 2 years, I started to notice behavioral things or dreams or thoughts, processes around that, but I didn't seek help for those things right away. I thought I could handle it. You know, I'm strong enough to be able to deal with this on my own, and perhaps I did for a time. But given enough time, those things start to build up. They have sort of an exponential effect. And by late 2014, anybody that would have seen me would have described it as full-blown alcoholism. As alcoholism is tied as a follow-on sort of consequence of not dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. It starts with that, then it goes to this alcoholism or this part of me self-medicating with it. Alcoholism in general can be extremely difficult to deal with, and it, claims a lot of people's lives across the U.S. every year. It impacted me in 2016 when I sought treatment for alcoholism at a treatment center in California. But my body since then has been fairly resilient. Most of the residual physical effects of alcoholism have completely faded. And because I have joined a program of recovery, a 12-step program, my mental health has been extremely, it's been extremely good, extremely much better compared to how it was prior. Anything that's been residual from those things, I feel like at this point, because of the gifts of the 12-step program, and because of my focus with my mental health and my physical health with the Veterans Administration and medical complex, have been addressed and continue to be. I feel like I'm in a much better physical and mental place now than I probably was 6 years ago. We would talk a lot about this idea of being hurt or being injured. Everybody is dealing with being hurt. Everybody's dealing with cuts and scrapes, rolled ankles, busted up shoulders, some sort of thing. Everybody's dealing with it. But an injury is something like a broken leg or something that's going to prevent you from being able to accomplish your tasks or your objectives. That mentality was carried with me even after the Marine Corps. And so one of the things that I would look at is, am I hurt or am I actually injured? I believed that I was bigger than the problem, that I could handle it myself. As a result, I don't think that whether available or unavailable, I don't know that many veterans are willing to be vulnerable enough or willing to realize and sacrifice their own self-reliance to be able to go and ask for help. There may be places that they can go and ask for help now. I think the Veterans Administration has done a much better job in recent history of trying to provide those sorts of resources for veterans dealing with mental health issues. However, the biggest thing is trying to get a veteran to recognize and talk about those things within themselves, to admit that there is an injury, that they're not just hurt, that there's not just something small, that it could turn in and metastasize into something much bigger, and that they should go and seek help for those things. I think a lot of veterans struggle with that, and I think probably that is probably the most difficult thing, particularly in trying to reintegrate from a ground combat Marine Corps job to anything in the civilian world.